And I don't know what this shrub is called. It's got nice shiny green leaves, and look at the pretty white flowers. Hi, it's Thursday, the 8th of April. I decided to take a walk to go check my P.O. box. Look at those beautiful azaleas. This is on the campus of Cape Fear Community College. Just so pretty. And here they are in pink. And by the way, this is Trisha the Knitting Lady. If you like my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Hi everybody, it's Trisha the Knitting Lady. I'm back from my walk. I went to check out my P.O. box. And it's a little hot out there. Of course, I don't know if it happens to you as well, but I'll be going at a good pace, and then I'll stop, and it was like everything overcomes me. Like all of a sudden I start sweating. I'm sure it just doesn't happen to me. So I have to get ready for work in a little bit, but I have on my Knitting Addiction shirt. That's a store in Kill Devil Hills in North Carolina, Outer Banks. I bought that. Boy, it's gonna be 2 years. Time goes fast when you're having fun. So I figured I'd make a quick video so I don't want you to forget about me. Oh, let me get my positive quotes. Excuse me. Why don't we start out with that? I haven't talked about that. So today's the 8th, and the topic is prosperity. Prosperity is only an instrument to be used, not a deity to be worshipped. Calvin Coolidge. Money makes many things easier. Sure does. No doubt about it. We sleep more soundly when we're not worrying about how we're going to pay our bills. Where we go wrong is not in having money, but in thinking that money is what defines our worth. We take a job we're not crazy about. Can I relate to that or what? Because of the money. We think the man down the block must be smart and important because he has more money than we do. So the affirmation is, I can think about money as something that helps me to do good things for myself and others, not as a goal in itself. True. Tomorrow is the 9th, and the topic is near to happiness. To be kind to all, to like many and love a few, to be needed and wanted by those we love is certainly the nearest we can come to happiness. And that's Mary Roberts Reinhardt said that. I don't know who that is. There's no great mystery to being happy. Happiness is within easy reach of us all. Although we don't always appreciate this fact. The secret to happiness is this: treat others as you would like to be treated. That's about it. Like a stick thrown to a dog. Love and kindness keep coming back. When we make others happy, we make ourselves happy. And the affirmation is, I have a good life with friends I love and who love me. So that's very positive. And what happened today? Well, I missed yesterday. That was April 7th, and it was the birthday of Russell Crowe. I always liked Russell Crowe. He was born in 1964. He's gained a lot of weight, though. Boy. Not the cutie he was. I'm surprised at him. And Jackie Chan, he was born in 1954. And James Gardner, remember the actor? He was born in 1929, died in 2014. And on April 7th, 1862, the Union Army, led by General Ulysses S. Grant, defeated Confederates at the Battle of Shiloh in Tennessee. It's also known as the Battle of Pittsburgh Landing, fought April 6th to 7th. 1862. I've been to the National Cemetery there. Very interesting. My brother is very big on the Civil War. He knows a lot more than I do. He can make a whole conversation on just the generals. So it was the bloodiest battle in American history up to that point. There were 23,746 casualties. 10,000 of them were Confederates. Now this is the Civil War we're talking about. Gettysburg was deadlier. They had twice as many casualties. And this is a crazy fact. General Albert S. Johnston was wounded in his right leg in an area known as Hornet's Nest. That's the area in the in the cemetery there. And he thought the wound was insignificant, so he sent the surgeons to go help other wounded people. But unfortunately, it had hit an artery and he bled to death. And it reminded me, and I know this is not the same thing, but I lived with my father for a while after my divorce. This is way back. My son was still young. And my father was trying to clip his toenails. And he clipped his skin and started bleeding. Well, I'm pretty good at stopping blood because I have an issue with bleeding, and I know usually the pressure points to use to stop bleeding. And I won't go into the stories, even I remember cutting myself in biology class on one of those slides. And I was bleeding not pretty bad, but I remember I stopped the bleeding because I knew what to do, but my biology teacher fainted. Not good, not good. She didn't realize I had it under control, but I couldn't stop the bleeding that day. I was starting to panic. And talk about an acting job. I think I should have gotten an Academy Award because I did not show him that I was almost close to panic. But I did finally stop the bleeding. I had a mess to clean up, but I stopped the bleeding. But I remember thinking to myself, you know how you start going into panic mode? Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to, how am I going to get to the hospital? Blah, blah, blah. All these things are going through your mind. But I finally stopped the bleeding, but enough about that. So you never know, if you hit the artery or... Unfortunately, the guy didn't think he was wounded that badly, but he was. And General Lew Wallace, got lost on the way to the battlefield. Now, he was with the Union Army. And he didn't arrive there till 7 p.m. And unfortunately, a lot of the casualties were due to the fact that he was the backup and he wasn't there. Now he blamed on General Ulysses Grant not giving him the right directions. And Ulysses Grant said, no, that's not true. But it turned out he didn't give him the right directions. But this general, Lewis Wallace, wrote the book Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. That was years later. So that he experienced success by writing that book. I don't know if you ever watched the movie that came out, was it in the late 50s? Ben-Hur. Charlton Heston was in that with the famous chariot race. I remember we were living in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania at the time. My grandmother came from there. And I, along with my girlfriend Linda, snuck into the movies. The guy who was working as, what do they call it when they sat people, the seats? He let us in the back door. We got to watch Ben-Hur, and I thought that was the biggest deal. And I saw Ben-Hur once after that, and I haven't seen it. I have to go look that up. So General Grant was blamed for the bloodbath at the Battle of Shiloh, even though the Union wound up winning. So he was demoted second in command, but ultimately became the commanding general of the U.S. Army in 1864. And he became the 18th president of the United States in 1869. I have a big book on him written by the guy who wrote Hamilton, and sitting there. And I was going to give it away, and my brother had said to me, don't do that. You'll really enjoy reading that book. So it's on my list to read. So it's now Shiloh National Military Park, and I've been there. I visited in 2014. I should go back. Okay, today is the 8th. 2 more weeks, and I'm done working. 1 more week till April 15th, but of course they extend the filing date, but people will still file on the 15th. So in colonial America, what household item was given in place of an engagement ring? And that would be a thimble. And what people would do, the gentleman would give a thimble because it was more practical. They would cut off the rim of the thimble and use it as a ring. So that's how wedding rings came to be. My mother always used thimbles, not always for sewing. She had an old percolator and she would put it on the top, so when she put the coffee in, it didn't get into the water. But I don't like using thimbles. They never seem to fit right on my fingers. So today's the birth date of Robin Wright, the actress, and Chris Kyle. Remember the man from American Sniper? Unfortunately, he was killed. He was born in 1974, died in 2013. And Betty Ford, the former First Lady, was born in 1918, died in 2011. And on this day in 1994, Kurt Cobain of Nirvana was found dead in Seattle at the age of 27. You know, he was part of the 27 Club, of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. You really wonder what makes people so depressed. I think it's the drugs, you know. So, what can I tell you about today? In 1992, I mean, they search for trivia at all different details. Tennis champion Arthur Ashe had a news conference to announce he was HIV positive from a tainted blood transfusion. And I had worked with a guy who died from AIDS from a tainted blood transfusion. Now, when I had my son, my doctor made me donate my own blood ahead of time in case something went wrong. And unfortunately, I had a few problems after I had my son, and I needed blood. So I had my own blood. So my former gynecologist, he was really ahead of the game there. So people had said to me, like a couple years after, when the AIDS thing first came out, they knew I had received blood. They said, you should get tested. And I said, well, it was my own blood. And I told them the whole story. I got tested anyway, I was fine, but just to be safe. But I remember I told that to someone and they said, boy, that was good thinking on your doctor's part. Yeah, I had a few complications. I remember after I had my son, my brother came in to see me in the hospital, and I was and all these tubes. And I'll never forget my brother's face. He went completely white. And he goes, "Is this what happens when you have a baby?" I said, "Oh, not everybody, just me." I was fine after a while. I recovered really fast. So, but Arthur Ashe was the first black man to be ranked #1 in the world in tennis. He was a 5-time Grand Slam champion and had 47 titles over the course of his tennis career. He was inducted in the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1985. And on June 20th, 1993, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Clinton, but that was after he died, because he had died in February of that year, 1993. He learned he had AIDS in 1988, 4 years prior to announcing it. He created the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS and the Arthur Ashe Institute for Urban Health. Like I said, he died February 6, 1993, of complications from AIDS at age 49 in New York City. He was born in Richmond, Virginia. When he died, the funeral was held at the Arthur Ashe Athletic Center in Richmond, Virginia on February 10th. The then Governor Douglas Wilder allowed the body to be held in state at the governor's mansion. So I remember that. That was very sad. I had a few friends die of AIDS. It was not a pleasant death, that's for sure. I'm glad it's come a long way. They really didn't know much about it. But I hope they find even more and more about it. I know now it's not a death sentence. You can get the right medication. But in the beginning, there was so much ignorance. So that's about it. Like I said, I have to work soon. I'm still crocheting my blanket. They're putting me through. This is so funny. In a way, my manager is a little annoyed because it's not just happening to me. Here I am, my last day is in 2 weeks, and I have to go through 10 hours of training. Why? So I'm going to get paid 10 hours of training. So it's the kind of training I could sit there and crochet while listening to it. It's all online, so maybe I'll get some crocheting done. I still have to work on my sweater. I don't know where time goes. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. Where does time go? And some of the people who have channels are always putting out new videos. I give them a lot of credit. Where do they find the time? So hopefully everybody's doing fine, and I will talk to you soon. Once I finish working, I will have a couple giveaways. Okay? I promise. Take care.